right, welcome to Talking Investing. I'm Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk about the Bitcoin miners. I want to go through the month of August. So if you're new to the channel or you have not yet subscribed, please remember to subscribe to the channel. Also, if everybody could do me a big favor and smash the like button, I'm looking for 250 likes. It makes a gigantic difference for the channel. It is much appreciated. So with all that said, let's get to the charts. We're going to talk about Bitcoin miners in the month of August. This is production in the month of August. You're going to see a bunch of different colors on here. I've updated some of my methodology and I'm disclosing a few new things because one of the things that's happening is some of the Bitcoin miners are collecting energy credits versus mining Bitcoin. So there's 3 companies that directly disclosed what their energy credits were in the month of August. There's a few more that just generically said we participate in getting energy credits. So obviously we can't quantify that because they didn't give us any numbers. So with that said, let's go through the top 10 Bitcoin miners by production in the month of August. There was one gigantic mover on this list. You're going to see BitDeer went from 9th place last month up to tied for 4th place this month at 383 Bitcoin. BitDeer is ramping up their self-mining. They've added a bunch of extra exahash. We're going to get to that chart in a few minutes and you're going to see they're moving up the list fast. One other thing worth noting, Hut8 is not on this list at all. They're currently not in the top 10 at all. Well, their merger did go through in September. On September 12th, they counted the votes. It was a landslide by vote count. So their merger did go through. They still need to get a few approvals, including SEC approval, but they do expect, they're hoping to have this done and have New Hut up and running by the end of September. So somewhere over the next 1 or 2 monthly operational updates, you're going to see a dramatic change in Hut, and I would expect to see them back on this list in a big way, more towards the middle of this list versus being out of the top 10 altogether. So that's going to be a dramatic change that's coming as well. Okay, so other than that, we have a lot of things that stayed the same. Marathon stayed in first place. They're in first place by a mile. They're mining over 1,000 Bitcoin. They did not mine as many Bitcoin in August as they did in July, but they still mined over 1,000 Bitcoin. You will see I have Core Scientific on here for information purposes. At the moment, they are in chapter 11, so we don't know what that means for shareholders. So I put this on here for your information, but you can see Marathon has now passed on a consistent basis. They have passed Core Scientific in monthly production, and I expect that discrepancy to get larger and larger as time goes by. Having said that, Core Scientific did say in their monthly update that they expect to be out of chapter 11 by the end of the year. What this means for existing shareholders is a different story. That is for a different video. Core Scientific did mine 965, so that is the second most of all the Bitcoin miners. Okay, so that leaves at number 2 Cleanspark at 659. So you'll see big drop off after number 1 and 2. Now, I want to go all the way down to number 7, which is Riot Blockchain. They are in purple because Riot diverted a lot of their Bitcoin mining efforts into energy credits through their energy curtailment. Riot got $31.7 million in energy credits in the month of August. That's the biggest month they've ever had in the history of their company. It's actually more energy credits in the month of August than they received in the entire year of the year 2022. So you can see this was a massive reallocation of resources to getting energy credits versus mining Bitcoin. So it moves them way down this list. They're in 7th place on this list, but that's the equivalent of an additional 1,136 Bitcoin. So, if they were able to divert all of their efforts to Bitcoin mining, they actually would have been in first place this month. Now, that's not necessarily realistic. That's not how it works in Texas, but you can see their energy credits are gigantic. There are a couple of other companies that are worth mentioning that, they do get some sizable energy credits. Iris Energy reported $2.3 million in energy credits for the month. So that is a significant amount. It's somewhere around the Bitcoin equivalent of another 88 Bitcoin mined. Cypher did disclose that they had the Bitcoin equivalent of 45. Nobody else gave a specific number. So you'll see these two companies, Iris and Cypher, I do have in a different shade of blue. This does affect the amount of Bitcoin they mine. So for the Bitcoin mining companies that report this in their monthly report, I'm going to try to pay more attention to this and disclose this in this monthly update as we go. So other than this giant jump from BitDeer from 9th place to tied for 4th place, a lot of this list remained very similar. Most of these companies stayed in roughly the same place. Okay, let's go year to date. That leaves Marathon in first place at 7,369 year to date, and they are mining the most by month. So they will end the year in first place of the publicly traded Bitcoin mining companies. Cleanspark is in 2nd place. That's 4,729. Riot is almost at the identical number. And remember, Riot just got $31 $31 million in energy credits. So to be fair, it's probably more realistic that Marathon is in first, Riot's in second, and CleanSpark's in third when accounting for energy credits. But those three are far and away 1, 2, 3. The drop off to fourth place is Bitfarms. Now, it is worth noting, Bitfarms has held strong in fourth place. This is because they're such a highly efficient Bitcoin miner. When we get to the exahash, you're going to see they're in seventh place in the amount of exahash that they have. But from that, they are able to maintain this fourth place position. So that is very strong operational performance, in my opinion. You'll see Cypher is right, almost exactly tied with them. In addition to that, remember, Cypher did get over $1 million in energy credits. So at some point, I do expect it is likely that Cypher will pass Bitfarms, and Bitfarms will move down to number 5 overall, but still very strong performance. Iris Energy, again, is in a different shade because they do get some energy credits as well. So Bitfarms, Cypher, and Iris, I think by the end of the year, they're all going to be at pretty similar numbers. We'll have to see what happens. They're vying for this 4, 5, 6 position. Then you've got Hive Blockchain. It's a little bit of a drop off down to 2,166. You've got Hive in 7th place, Wolf in 8th place, BitDeer in 9th place, and Stronghold in 10th place. Again, it's worth noting Hut 8 is currently not on this list, but if this merger can go through by the end of September, if they get October, November, December to mine as new Hut, then they will be back in the top 10. Okay, this is exahash by company. So BitDeer was in 8th place. They are now in 4th place. They added over 3 exahash in 1 month. They're now at 7.2 exahash of self-mining. So this puts them in 4th place overall. BitDeer does seem to have a lot of resources. They do a lot of business. Their top line revenue is actually larger than all the other Bitcoin miners, but they do a lot of different things. Most of that is not just self-mined Bitcoin revenue. Marathon was at 19.1, so there's a giant drop off from that. We go to Riot at 10.7 exahash. They've been targeting 12.5 exahash. They have a building that is still not operational. It was operational. It was damaged. It's basically taking them all year to get that online. So they're at 10.7 exahash. And again, they do a lot of self-curtailment. However, they did get paid $31.7 million for that self-curtailment just in the month of August. Then you're going to see CleanSpark. They are at 9.3 exahash, so they're a strong 3rd place. They do have plans to get to 16 exahash. They were shooting for December 2023, but they're now talking about maybe January 2024. It is important that they get this done because the halving is going to be somewhere around April of 2024. So every month that they lose is significant because they are now in a position to hodl the majority of what they are mining. So if they can get that up to 16 exahash, it could make a substantial difference in the amount of Bitcoin they're able to hodl, because it could be the difference of, 1,000 or 2,000 extra Bitcoin that they end up on their balance sheet going into the halving. Then we have Cypher at 6.8. They have plans to get to 8.2 exahash. Then we have Iris Energy at 5.6. In Q1 of 2024, they're looking to get over 9 exahash. They're looking to grow from there. So there's a lot of growth coming. Bitfarms talked about getting to 7 exahash. TerraWolf has growth plans as well. Stronghold and Hive, I don't think you're going to see massive amounts of growth. And again, the one thing that is missing, Hut 8 did just get their merger approved. So whereas they're currently not even in the top 10, they will immediately move up to 7.5 exahash. So that should move them somewhere potentially into 4th place overall from right now currently not even being in the top 10. So that's why this merger was very important for them. So again, over the next 2 months, you're going to see some major changes. I know we're most of the way through the year, but between now and the end of the year, I do expect to see a lot of changes in these top 10 lists. So stay tuned each month because this is a very fluid industry and things change quickly. Okay, efficiency. So I did make one change to my methodology here. You'll see 200 Bitcoin minimum. So you're a very small Bitcoin miner and you have one situation that you're able to be efficient in. You have not yet proven that you can scale that up. These companies that are over 200 Bitcoin mined per month are already well into the way of scaling up their operations. So I don't think it's fair to compare. So I have made that change. A minimum of 200 Bitcoin mined per month is required to get on this list for me. So this list does remain very much the same. You're going to see the top 4 are the same. They've been the same every single month all year long. The one thing that fluctuates is last month, actually CleanSpark was tied for first. So it was a four-way tie for first last month. They're a little bit behind this month, so they ended up in fourth, but you can see very, very close. So Bitfarms, Hive, Iris Energy, and CleanSpark have been the top four most efficient miners. We now have 6 companies that, in my opinion, have a very strong level of efficiency. Core Scientific drops down to 64, Stronghold drops down to 59, Marathon, which mines the most Bitcoin by far, does have to participate in a lot of self-curtailment, and a lot of that is self-induced by the fact that their cost per Bitcoin is a little bit higher than the rest of their competition, so sometimes they just voluntarily shut some of their machines off when it's not cost effective at peak energy prices. So you'll see they do lag behind in this efficiency rating. Cypher as well, they lag behind. And then Riot, obviously, I have in purple. Their number is drastically skewed by the fact that they took $31.7 million in energy instead of Bitcoin. It's also worth noting that Iris Energy, where they remain tied for first every single month, they are on top of that getting some energy credits, and particularly in August with $2 million of energy credits. You almost could say they're not really tied for first. Maybe this was the first month of the year that they would actually be in first. So very, very similar list. This top four, I like to point out, these are very strong performers. All 8 months of the year, these top four have performed extremely efficiently. Lastly is a HODL position. Hive Blockchain, I just put a block here. They did not report the amount of HODL that they had. I don't know why that is. This is the second time in 2 years they have not reported that number in their monthly operational report. So last month they had about 2,100 Bitcoin in HODL. By not reporting, I don't know, did they sell all that Bitcoin? Did they add to that position? So this is a mystery. So I left them in this fourth place, but with a question mark, because we don't know because they didn't report. So Marathon's now over 13,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. HUT is over 9,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And Riot is at around 7,300 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Those three are the top by a mile. CleanSpark was able to HODL the vast majority of their Bitcoin in the month of August. I think they're going to try to do that for many of the remaining months between now and the halving. If they can accomplish that, then I think there'll be 4 Bitcoin miners that go into the halving with substantially more Bitcoin on their balance sheet than all the other Bitcoin miners, and they will be Marathon, HUT, Riot, and potentially CleanSpark. It's also worth noting I have 2 stars next to BitDigital. This is Bitcoin equivalent, but at this point, the majority of this is actually Ethereum, so I may change my methodology as well and just talk about their true Bitcoin, because I don't necessarily think it's fair to show Bitcoin equivalent when so much of this is not actually Bitcoin. Bitfarms has about 650. They've been adding about 10% of their production per month, so they could go into the halving maybe over 1,000 Bitcoin, but that's about it. Almost nobody else is really hodling at all. You'll see by the time we get to 10th place, you're at Argo Blockchain with 49 Bitcoin. Everybody else is less than that. And after the halving, it's going to be extremely difficult, at least in the short term, for these companies to add to their hodl position. So it's almost important to know that's going to be a real checkpoint. How many Bitcoin do these companies have on their balance sheet at the halving? Because again, it's going to be very hard to add after that point. Okay, so that's all I got for you this month. This was the month of August. A lot of interesting stuff happened. We will definitely keep you updated. We've got a lot more videos coming at you. A lot of stuff going on in the Bitcoin mining space. So thanks so much for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.